You can have a zombie game without zombies. You can have Dungeons and Dragons without Dungeons or Dragons. And you can have entire YouTube channels without a YouTuber. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? Okay, so what exactly is a zombie game without zombies, and why would we even want such a thing? The long and short of it is that zombies do something very particular to the world, and maybe we want that thing, but we don't like zombies. Zombies are a unique sort of threat in ways that other monsters just aren't, and they force the survivors to act in certain ways. And I know, this entire video is actually kind of the long version of a short little segment I had during my Black Summer video. However, I'm a better YouTuber than I was back then, and I kind of thought that this topic deserves its own video. Okay, I don't want to keep hanging around the abstract of this for too much longer, so let's just get into it. What do zombies do to a world, and how do we replicate that without zombies? Zombies in an end-of-the-world scenario are not vampires, they are not dragons, they are not werewolves, they're not even skeletons. All of those creatures are either limited in number, or at the very least, they are confined to a specific territory. When you fight these monsters, 9 times out of 10, you are actively entering their turf. You have left safe areas, like the world is safe, and you are going into these isolated areas where there are monsters. Zombies, on the other hand, are essentially omnipresent and functionally limitless. You cannot go anywhere and have there not be zombies. Civilization, if it exists at all, is limited and hiding away in secluded enclaves. The heroes in a zombie story are not adventurers. Adventurers leave the safe majority of territory where everyone lives to wander into dangerous territory to slay monsters. In a zombie setting, the monsters are everywhere. There is no safe area. You are not an adventurer. You are a survivor. There is no one in the world who isn't like you. You are now an average person just trying to survive this. The protagonists will appear to be more like desperate refugees than like heroes. Everyone in these stories is an up-jumped civilian. And that means that zombies have to be at a threat level that civilians can make that jump. Think about it. Zombies are a specific sort of threat level that your average person going 1v1 with a zombie has at least a real fighting chance of coming out on top of that encounter. Whereas, if this was, say, a dragon apocalypse, that average person is not going to 1v1 the dragon. That person is just going to get burned and be dead. And they're never going to get the chance to make that level up into a hero. So all of that is the effects of zombies. But how do we have those effects without the zombies? I have an example setting that actually fits this niche perfectly. The Banner Saga is a game that's really stuck in my mind over the years. It's the story of a father-daughter duo of hunters, Rook and Alette. The two of them are inhabitants of Skogir, a remote village that is among the first to fall when the Dredges fall upon the world. Ancient, uncaring stone golems, marching in swarming hordes from the frigid north. They blacken the landscape as they flatten all civilization before them. The inhabitants of Skogir are forced to flee south in a vast caravan, gathering up other desperate survivors as they flee, and constantly battling it out with other survivors, or stubborn locals who are yet to understand what's coming. The Dredges are essentially zombies that aren't zombies, but it's not purely one-to-one. The Dredges are not omnipresent the same way that zombies are, because zombies are everywhere, you cannot go anywhere and have there not be zombies, whereas in the Banner Saga, there are places that don't have Dredges, but there are not places that aren't going to have Dredges for much longer. And it doesn't really matter if the Dredges are all across the world, because we are constantly taking the POV of a group of people who are always just one step ahead of the horde. So To them, the Dredges really are everywhere. We also see that the power levels are a little bit different, but the dynamic is mostly the same. Your average person is not gonna come out on top if they 1v1 a Dredge. However, your average 2 people have a pretty good shot of 2v1ing a Dredge. And in a game that's all about like teamwork and squad gameplay, that's good enough. You'll note, D&D is also about teamwork and squad gameplay, so you don't need to keep that 1v1 zombie rule if you don't want with your monster, provided it is still the sort of thing that in an average fight, a couple average people are going to be able to take down one of these monsters with a reasonable chance of success. The setting has everything we want to be a zombie story without zombies. And the Banner Saga uses stone golems as its monster, which is a really weird choice. But that's okay because it makes it an absurdly good example that you can use any monster you want. You don't even have to have the monsters be a mindless horde. The Dredges certainly aren't, so feel free to have like a goblin apocalypse. The other thing I would recommend if you're planning on running a zombie game with or without zombies is that you definitely have to start at level 1, or if the system allows, you should start even lower than level 1. In systems like D&D 3.5 and Pathfinder, they actually allow you to start out with NPC classes, and I would recommend doing that, and then the first time they would level up, that will transform into an adventuring class, and then you become a first level ranger or fighter or whatever, but you'll start out as just a civilian hunter or whatever. I actually found a D&D 5th edition version of this, and I've linked it down below. It is essentially a commoner class that advances up to 5th level, at which point it evolves into a first level of another class. So I would recommend starting a zombie game without zombies as this 5th edition commoner class and let everyone evolve into a real class after a few sessions. And the reason you want to do this is really just to double down on that fantasy that you guys are not by choice a group of adventurers. You are a group of civilians who are caught up in this, and you have to grow over time to meet the challenges. And guys, thank you so much for watching. You're awesome. And if you like it when this channel actually behaves like a normal RPG channel and gives RPG advice, then scroll down, leave a like, and maybe I'll do it more, we'll see. But regardless, I've got some really cool stuff coming next week, and I think you're gonna like it. We're actually gonna be dropping 2 videos next week, big videos too, so, stay tuned.